men and women are condemned to live in poverty. Human rights are violated. To come together to ensure that these rights are respected is our solemn duty. It's the lighthouse. It's like a beacon of hope for people in recovery. Obviously they're speaking about the NEIC. So over here, NEIC stands for the North East Inner City. And like they're shining the beacon of hope for leaving a light on. Like they boarded up a house like as big as this, where you could house like 20 people. And yeah, people are sleeping on the streets right here. I mean, follow the message that's written on the boards. Leave a light on for people in recovery and that are homelessness. I just can't wrap my head around it. My daughter referred to this as light, as a tunnel. And I feel what I said back there about speaking up about homelessness, that we can step into the light, and there is light at the end of the tunnel by speaking up. This is Sheriff Street Youth Club. This is a really positive area based on where it's from. Youth Club, it facilitates all sports events from the age of 4 up until the age of 90 or stuff like that. It has soccer, basketball, boxing, and even bingo.
Living like an area that's kind of, I can't think of the word, but like we're like disadvantaged areas. Like yeah. We're kind of just in the city centre. We don't always have a lot of money. Like so, I'm from Darndale Street flats, and I've like lived in them like since I'm born. Like I was brought home to them flats, and like. They're just great, but people like see them as a bad place, but because we're so used to them, we just like we kind of normalise it, and we kind of like just being there. But some people walk past and think, "Oh, this is a horrible place to live." Yeah, like I'm very proud to be from Darndale Street. Like I don't know why, but I just am. Like it's just a nice place. A lot of positive things that come out of living in flats. Like to be honest, you don't see like. I'm not even trying to say this in a bad way, but you don't see like people who live in house in estates always staying with them and good friends. Like we're all friends since we're at least 3 or 4. Like we kind of just stay together. Like I don't know. Like I'm kind of glad that I'm from the inner city because I have great friends. Like they're all from around.
My name is Nicola. I'm a youth worker here in Braddock, and. I suppose how I got involved in this type of work was that I'm from a flat complex myself, over on the south side of the city, and youth work was a very crucial part for my life growing up. I was always in the project, and that led on to kind of prayer leadership, young leader and that, and then I went on a European voluntary service project, that was through the youth service. So I went abroad and volunteered for 1 month in Slovenia, and then I went to Macedonia for a year, and both times I was working in youth centres over there, and then I came back and I went to Newt and got a degree in youth work. So I've worked in a couple of different places, and I'm in Braddock now about 3 years.
I'm Amy. I actually got into youth work in a kind of different way. I'm not from an area of socio-economic deprivation or anything like that, but I was an early school leaver, and through that I ended up going through what was called FOSS. I think it's called Solace now maybe, and I ended up going on to a level 5 in youth studies and community work, and like that I ended up on an EVS, now an ESC, in Moldova, and I kind of really started to figure myself out there, and kind of really started to be like, oh, I knew I wanted to work with people, but definitely young people then in that sense. So I came back then, and like that went on to the degree in Newt, and absolutely fell in love with it. And I think that there's, you know, lots of different sides to working with people in general. So, but young people, regardless of background or whatever, was kind of I knew where I wanted to go with. So somehow we both ended up here.
Yeah. Recently, like 6 years ago, my flat started doing protests to get a new playground, because there was antisocial behaviour going on in the flats, because there was no actual fun that we were really getting, and like basically without the playground we would usually just like be having fights and throwing stones at each other. So like there wasn't really that much positive activity going on like with the kids around the flats. So like for the past like year, from like 2015 to 2016, our flats was like doing protests to have the playground, and like we got it like around August 2016, so it was legit like 6 years since we got it. But like even now people have like been wrecking the place up, kind of like they've been breaking like the swings off the bars, and even like broke like stuff off the zip lines too. So even now like and there used to be a sandpit, but that's all like getting like messed up and all because people keep taking it and putting like rats and all in it, and like just like pissing in it, and like that's legit. So like even now even with the playground, it's still like not becoming a positive behaviour, and it's just getting messed up like the old playground as well. I don't really think the guards are like doing that much of a good job with the antisocial behaviour, to be honest. And like even now, like kids these day and age are like going around not being really raised properly, in my opinion, and just like messing like shit up. Like they're not really like doing what they're supposed to be told. So like in my opinion, they're getting too influenced by like romance and gang wars and stuff like that from like the UK, and like they're starting to do that like around here, different areas in Dublin. And a lot of them are kind of going a bit too far now as well, because a lot of these kids like are even like younger than me, like around like 10 to 12 maybe, and going around with hammers and what are they called again? I forgot what they're called, but basically just like toolbars and shit, and like just going after random people like around certain areas and just fighting with them.
And you seen yourself like with young people that you just interviewed, they're incredible. There's lots of potential there, lots of uncovered potential with young people, and particularly in these areas. It has its challenges, like all jobs. A lot of the time the challenges are beyond the young people that we meet. So it's not the challenge is not with the individual, it's the barriers that surround them. It's the factors that influence their life, it's the environment that they come from. It's, as you well know, it's the policies and everything from the top that trickles down, and how that affects them and how that affects their work. But it's an absolute privilege to work with these young people and work in these communities. So that's how I feel about it anyway, and I love coming to work. I've definitely found my calling in this line of work, and I wouldn't change it now, I love it.
Like this? Like one person can, with the right motivation in their life, can achieve a gold medal in the Olympics. I choose to surround myself with positive, motivated people. That's got me places.
Actually, what I find is young people are never the difficult people to work with. It's those above, and it's those in positions of power and adults in our communities that they're the difficult people to work with. And like that, they always get tarnished with a bad brush. And it's one thing that everybody tarnishes teenagers in one way, but if you're a teenager then also from the north inner city, or a teenager from a certain area, a certain postcode with a certain accent and dress a certain way, you're going to be painted even worse. So I think like that, it's the little things every day in our job that isn't just inspiring for me anyway. It's kind of, I want to aspire to be more like that.
I don't really know that many people, like in my opinion, around my area that like have been to college or what.
I want to be a midwife. I have a brave mindset, so I'm sure that'll help me.
I want to be an actor and an animator.
I'd watch out for them, just sure, I guess.
I want to be a social worker.
I think if you're working in social services, you have to go through like what it's like for to live with like an abandoned family.
Yeah.
Exactly. I think they should stop thinking like that, because what they're doing now is going to be the result in a few years. Like we're growing up, but we've never went down the way they did. We're growing up, we all want good jobs. But you hear little kids saying, "Oh, I want to be a drug dealer or a little gangster or something." Like it's not a good thing to hear either. It's like that's kind of negative part of it, where we're living like the kids these days.
Yeah, our job is also to like put a different address down, because she lives in Clapton, to make sure she actually like got the job.
There they're just like kind of judging a book by its cover really. They're not really like seeing into like the pages and who this person really is. Instead like they just see like where they're from, and like just because they're like from a certain area like they can't get like their jobs. They're not really like actually looking into the pages and seeing who this person really is, and like if they're actually a good person.
No, it's like little posh people. I'm not trying to be smart.
No,
it's little posh people.
Yeah, like if I was to go to be in politics, like, she'd be laughing.
Yeah, literally, we might be like thrown down straight away because of their accent.
I
know someone who's a nurse, and they were like back talk for years saying, "Oh, you'll never actually like make it," and now they're like a nurse.
Yeah, like for young kids not to be like pressured into like doing all that stuff just to be like at school or to like be known as she's this and that. Like
Just don't get involved with the young kids in the flats now because it's not worth it. It's not going to be worth it. Ever.
Yeah, it's very core to have a safe space, even if just for 2 hours a week. But that you know that you can come in here, rain, hail, snow, sun, and we'll be here. Yeah, whatever it is.
And there's like your education comes before, so it doesn't matter how you're feeling. And like you could go into school having a bad day, like, and they say, "Oh, like you're not paying attention," and then you snap, and then they're like giving out to you, but then they don't actually do anything to help with mental health. Like, I feel like it's just very ignored in schools. It's like people thinking you're weak.
yeah.
That's just always kind of sad if you're weak. Like,
I think like those who actually like open up about like what their like mental health is are actually like more braver, because like if like you're able to like open up about what you're feeling to people like you truly trust, like that's actually like one of like the most bravest things to do in like my opinion, because there's not that many people, because they like people who feel like you're weak if you talk about like what you're going through are like actually the weak ones, because they're not like very trustful or like you know able to talk about in front of like people like that they know. So like, but for those that are able to like are actually like, pretty like strong and like able to like you know be comfortable around other people while talking about like situations they're going through. I'd say actually bring people in like who have actually gone through like mental health and actually talked about like what their life basically was like with like what they were going through as well, like and like just talk about like what's been like what happened, like how they had to get through what they were going through, and like just talk about stuff like that, like with students and all, like students asking like them questions, so like that's like how they would know like how to like get through stuff like depression or like anxiety or PTSD.
When I was going around to the different flat complexes and the housing places and things, there's a lot of young people who, during adolescence anyway, you're figuring out your identity and everybody's questioning things and learning, but then there's a whole cohort of young people who are really on a journey of self-discovery in terms of their gender identity and in terms of sexuality, and they are the years that you're going to explore that. But while that has its own complications and complexities, if you then take trying to do that while experiencing the other barriers and lack of opportunities that every other young person in this area is facing, it's really difficult. Different being a young woman from a middle class area, the challenges you face, the lack of opportunities, it's all going to be very different. Your experience as a woman, we always hear experiences of, you know, women of colour, women of different religions and women of different abilities, etc. But you don't really hear about the differences in working class young women, and that's what we have here is a lot of working class young women, and we don't just want them to feel like that's a label that they don't really know what to do with. They need to celebrate that, but they also need to figure it out.
That they have a lot to say. Like they have it there, they just need the space and the platform to say.
Yeah, they're not always afforded that platform.
So I do feel like it's very important that we get those opportunities to people to get out of that environment. Like I said earlier on about the challenges that we face a lot of the time is the environments that the young people are in all the time.
We don't just do work with young people, the young people also do work with the community. Like that young women's group, one of the young women's group we have, they decided they were going to set up a youth space, like another safe space where they were going to interact with other young people. So there's actually a service called Child Vision, and that's the National Education Centre for young people who are visually impaired or blind. but also some of the young people would have other disabilities playing in, so it could be intellectual, physical, whichever. And through a link in there, they've managed to set up a weekly space where it's a drop-in space where all of those young people, regardless of ability, they just mix together. And when I say it is the most moving and pure thing, because the young people with the disabilities, they wouldn't always get the chance to mix with other young people. And then our young people, there can be a sense of fear there from the unknown. And when they came together and they mixed, when I say it was like magical, it was just, you could see barriers just crashing down straight away. And it was actually, I think, for me, really nice, because quite often our young people are judged from the get-go by how they look, how they sound. But nobody was going to judge them there. And then obviously with the young people who are visually impaired, quite often they're judged. People see the cane, they see the dog, they see the wheelchair, they don't see, but instead you had all these big personalities coming in together. And when I say they're doing painting, pizza making, it's like just singing. Sometimes like they just make a meal and they all just sit together and chat, and it's magical.
This is a message to the world, that if you water the flowers, that they will grow and they will blossom. And planting some seeds, seeds of positivity, can blossom a whole tree, and it will bear fruit. And that's where this quote comes in. One human race, and be first, be different, be unique, and like anybody can follow the crowd, but it takes someone to stand out from the crowd. And if you stand out and actually be positive, bear fruit, and speak positivity into the world, you can. My opinion would be you're out of this world, and that's why the moon and the galaxies are there. I feel it's really important for people to not have that fear of going, say, for a job interview and stuff like that, going into booking a restaurant and not being allowed access because of where you're from or who you are. That needs to stop, and it needs to stop soon, because we're not going to be here forever. And it's like I just can't, like, I can't wrap my head around why it already hasn't been changed. I feel Ireland could be a lighthouse for Europe and maybe the world, as a beacon of hope, of adding socio-economic as a tank ground.